For the past few years, train traveling has become my favorite form of traveling, if you couldn't tell by all the train travel videos on my channel. And since my first 52-hour long distance train ride from Chicago to Emeryville, California on the Amtrak California Zephyr, I have learned what I like, what I don't like, and things I should consider bringing on long distance or even short train rides to have the best train trip experience. So this is my most comprehensive do's and don'ts, things to bring, my essentials, all that good stuff for your next train ride. Hello, my name is Sojourner, aka Sojournies, aka the train travel queen, and today we are talking about my recommendations and packing tips for train travel as a full-time travel vlogger who stays on a train trip. I have one coming up real soon. And like always, I do have my handy dandy iPad with all of my tips because I have divided this video up into 5 categories, and we're gonna start with clothes. So the main thing I want you to remember about packing clothes for a train ride is to be comfortable. Comfy is the goal when you're on a train for 8 hours or 13 hours or 35 or even 52 hours like I have been on the train before. I love bringing my matching sets or my lounge wear. I'll make sure to put some photos and clips of me on past train trips so you get an idea of what that looks like. But I've worn leggings on some train rides. I did the Amtrak Southwest Chief from Chicago to Los Angeles, and I opted for my romper and this really nice kind of linen white shirt to wear on the train. So very soft material you want to bring with you. I also love wrap shirts, which I'm actually wearing right now. I think wrap shirts are a really nice way to kind of look cute on the train, because I still want to look cute on the train for sure, but to look cute but also be really comfortable and not feel so restricted in your clothing. Some other things I like to bring are oversized t-shirts. When I was on the Amtrak Empire Builder from Milwaukee to Portland, I wore this oversized purple shirt by a local brand here in Milwaukee called Unfinished Legacy, and it was so nice. I think from here on out, I'm going to bring at least one oversized t-shirt for long distance train travel because it makes it feel like you're wearing pajamas, but not really while you're on the train, which I think is very comfortable for multiple days sitting. And as I mentioned, I do like to look cute on the train, so I do recommend slip dresses. I wore one from my train ride from New York City to Chicago on the Amtrak Lakeshore Limited last summer as well, and I was surprised at how much I liked it. I love one-piece options. I think they're really easy to pack, easy to bring with you, and also easy to wear once you get off the train. I've also worn like a long sleeve, kind of not oversized, but a long sleeve baby doll dress on the Empire Builder as well, and that was also very comfortable and very flowy, very light, especially if you do a lot of summer train travel. Make sure you're packing for the season or the weather, because if you go through like the desert on the West Coast, the train can heat up a little bit, so you want to be mindful of that. Even though you're not necessarily outside, and it will be cooler on the train even in the summertime, you still want to be prepared and bring some clothes that are breathable. I also love to bring a jean jacket or a light sweater to wear on the train as well, just in case it does get a little cold. I run a little colder than most, so keep that in mind too, but just bring it in case. You never know how it's gonna feel as you go through the different climates on a train. And finally, for clothes, you want to think about what pajamas are most comfortable for you. As I mentioned, I do run a little cold, so I like to bring footies when I'm on the train, and I've also worn just like oversized t-shirts to bed and been fine. But sometimes in the middle of the night, depending on where the train is going through, the temperature may drop a little, so I always bring a pair of pajama pants, fleece, or something a bit warmer just in case I do get a little cold in the middle of the night, but that has been very rare in my experience. So the second category is footwear, and I want to start with, let's start with slippers. So I love bringing slippers. These are a bit raggedy. I'm not gonna hold y'all, so please don't talk about me in the comments, but they are a little raggedy because I've worn them out. But these are some slippers that I've worn on the train before. I love bringing slippers. I generally book a roomette for longer distance train rides when I'm in the US. However, if I was in coach, I would also wear slippers, because wearing tennis shoes for multiple days straight with no like room to breathe, is not the move, in my opinion. So I really love having some slippers when I'm walking around in the little roomette on the train, or even when I'm going down to the shower. I like to have on my slippers or some form of slip-on shoes. Which brings me to my second pair of shoes I recommend for train travel, especially if you're staying overnight and have access to a shower, are shower shoes. Now these are from Teva. I really love Teva sandals. I have a bunch of their shoes, and I love this pair because they are waterproof. So they take not very long to dry. So I actually wear these in the shower. I think I showed that in the Amtrak Empire Builder vlog I did about 2 years ago. I love them. They're really great. I lived in a dorm all 4 years in college. I was an RA, so I am used to having flip-flops when I'm in the shower, and that's kind of what this feels like. So I highly recommend, if you are worried about germs and just the shared shower situation when you do book a roomette, bring some flip-flops or shower shoes. And just in general, whether you're on the train or even off the train, or maybe on one of the fresh air stops, you want to bring shoes that are very comfortable, like slip-on shoes. I had this canvas pair by Cariuma. I believe is how you pronounce the brand name, but I'll put a photo or a clip somewhere in the video of those shoes. But I love like canvas shoes because they're really easy to slip on and off when you are on the train. And in the summer and springtime, I love, of course, Tevas. I just showed you the flip-flops, but these are their actual sandals. These are their mid-form, I think, interweave sandals, but I have a few pairs by them and I love them. They are my go-to summer shoe while I'm traveling, and I really recommend getting a nice sandal if you do a lot of summer train travel because you want your feet to breathe naturally. And I find that many people forget about that when they're on the train, so they're stuck just wearing their regular tennis shoes or gym shoes throughout the entire train ride experience, which can feel a bit restricting. So get some slip-on shoes, get some slippers, and get some shower shoes, I would say are the 3 main pair of shoes you need on a long distance train in particular, but any train ride was probably good for them. Our next category is technology, which I think is really important if you are in the US because y'all know we don't have Wi-Fi on our trains, or I should say that it's really hit or miss when you're on trains in the US. And the first thing I recommend is some headphones. In particular, I use the Sony noise canceling headphones. I forget which version these are, but I will put it somewhere in the video, but these were about $300. I got them at the end of 2022, so it's been almost 3 years and I've had no issues with them. I think they're a really great investment if you do travel a lot, whether it's on a plane or a train and you need that kind of seclusion and time for yourself. These are great. You've seen these in my videos. I use them when I'm journaling or even junk journaling, when I'm coloring, when I'm just sitting in the observation car. I love using these headphones and they are my favorite go-to. They're kind of the only headphones I even use nowadays, so definitely worth the money and worth the investment. Since there is no Wi-Fi on most Amtrak trains, I also own a portable hotspot. I've mentioned this before in my train travel safety video that I will link in the description box below, but this is the Sapphire Power hotspot charger situation from Travel Wi-Fi. So as you can see, they have different cords if you want to actually charge your device. And in order to use this, you need to download their apps. You put money, you get some gigabytes, and you connect to the Wi-Fi with the password and everything right on the back here. I've had this since 2023. I use it a lot. I've used it in videos. It's a great tool to have if you do want some Wi-Fi on the train. And I will say I do not work remote a whole lot on the train. I've tried it twice when I have like little things to do, but I find that I just enjoy the train better when I can sit back, relax, and enjoy the views. But if you do want to work remote on the train, I highly recommend investing in a Wi-Fi hotspot. And this one I believe was around $160 or $70 when I first got it, but I will try to find the updated price for you and put it somewhere in the video or the description box below. In my train travel safety video, I also mentioned the importance of having your own portable charger. There are not a lot of ports on the train, especially in the US, but I have this one from Anchor. I've had this since my first solo trip in 2018, so we've been through a lot together, but this is my portable charger, and it takes a long time to charge, but also a long time to die. So there is a trade-off there. You can look on Anchor's website or even Amazon if you do use Amazon to find an updated version of this, but I really love Anchor products. I think they're really great. I would also recommend getting one of their boxes that has multiple USB cords. I used to own one and I lost it on a train or on a plane somewhere. And I say that because in the Amtrak crewmet, there was only one outlet. So technically you can only charge one thing at a time, which as a creator, that's very inconvenient. So Anchor does sell these multi-port, I guess, battery packs. And in the past, I've also used a bigger like multi-port charger. I'll put clips of that in the video as well so you can see what that looks like. But a multi-port charger is also helpful if you have a lot of things to charge like I do, because I'm generally bringing a camera, a microphone that I'm wearing right here, the camera I'm filming on. So you want to make sure you have enough ports to charge all of your devices. And my last thing for technology is bringing your laptop or even your iPad. If you want to download movies, I recommend doing that before you get on the train, because again, there's no Wi-Fi and there's no way to download it once you get on the train. So I've downloaded movies on my iPad before, which has been great for entertainment if you do want to watch movies on the train. You also want to download any music or podcasts, because while you will have data on the train, I find that my data works pretty well as I'm taking the long distance trains, though there are parts where you won't have any just because it's a very remote area. You also want to download any music or podcasts, because those will also be a lot harder to access once you're on the train if you don't have a portable hotspot, or if you don't have any service if you're going through a dead area on the train. And I do have some recommendations for my non-techies too, who want to disconnect a bit more while they're on the train. Even though I'm a travel vlogger and I do love creating videos and being on social media, I love that I'm able to disconnect and enjoy a train ride without technology. And I always bring things to do. So I'll have like a coloring book, which is really cute. My mom actually gave me this one. I'll bring a coloring book to do. I'll bring a physical book as well. I think train travel is a great opportunity to read and kind of get caught up on something you've been meaning to read for like a few months or a few years, and now you have the time to do so. I highly recommend bringing a physical book, or you can bring a Kindle. This is my Kindle with this cute little bookshelf case, but I love bringing digital things to read as well, because I just don't have a lot of space sometimes to carry the 3 books I may be reading simultaneously at any point in time. So having that on a Kindle is really helpful. And to no one's surprise, if you've been on my channel before, you know I love junk journaling. I just did a whole video of me junk journaling on a train ride to Chicago, and this one I actually just finished a few days ago. There are still some pages back here, but it's too hard to open. I have junk journaled on a train, or like kind of scrapbooked on the train too. Let me see if I can find. The very first page was last summer on a train ride from Chicago to Los Angeles. So it was a very fun activity to do on the train. I've even junk journaled other train rides I've taken, like the Rocky Mountaineer. I love junk journaling. I might even do a whole video on how to create a travel junk journal. If y'all are interested, let me know in the comments below, because I think this is a cool activity to do on the train. And it's a great way to reuse those tickets or anything you collect on your travel. So I highly recommend considering junk journaling on your next train ride as something to do. And my last category are just miscellaneous things that I didn't know where to include in the video that I think are very useful when you are on a long distance or a short train ride. So the first thing in this category is a sleeping mask. And I just got this one. I used to be a sleeping mask hater. I did not understand it because I can sleep like a rock essentially anywhere, but I love these like deep eye pockets. Like I get some of the best sleep when I'm on a train because these just make it super dark in the room. So I highly recommend getting this kind of sleeping mask or eye mask for your train ride if you are a light sleeper. You can also bring earplugs. I'm a pretty deep sleeper, so I generally don't need the earplugs, but if you want to bring them, you can, and I think they will go great to kind of bring a very relaxing energy to your train ride with your sleeping mask. The second thing I think you should bring is like a little bag, and I mentioned this bag also in my safety video, but this is from Eagle Creek. It's one of their larger kind of fanny pack or travel packs that you can find, and I really love it. I think it's the perfect size to carry around my valuables. One of the critiques of Amtrak roumettes is that they only lock for the inside, so a lot of people are always curious about what happens with your things if you're no longer in them. Personally, I've never had any issues with someone stealing my stuff when I'm in a roumette, but I do always carry my most valuable possessions in a bag like this around the train just in case something were to happen. Another bag I recommend bringing is a toiletries bag, and this is from eBags. I don't know if this bag is still available because eBags has no longer a company out here in these streets, but it is a great bag to have. Whether or not it's this eBag one, just make sure you have one that hangs. So what I found is that on Amtrak trains, there isn't like a whole lot of space in the bathrooms. However, there is a place for you to hang your bag. So I highly recommend getting a toiletries bag, whether it's this one or another one you may already own that hangs, because it'll be way more convenient than you trying to put your toiletry bag on the toilet or put it in the sink as you're brushing your teeth, washing your face, etc. I also did a little demonstration in that safety train travel tips video, but I talked about the doorstop alarm. This fits just enough under an Amtrak roumette to kind of give you some security. If you want to see a full demonstration of how to use this, again, I will link it in the description box below. But if you are a solo female traveler and you're worried about safety and having a little extra protection when you are in the roumette at night, I highly recommend getting a battery, like little fat batteries they take in here, and putting this under your door. It's great. It gives you a little more security as you're sleeping on the train. And my last few items are actually more like medicine. So if you have stomach issues, Gas X, baby. Get you some Gas X or Imodium. I know sometimes people don't know what to expect with train food, and there have been sometimes, primarily with some of the vegan food, that my stomach did not like it very well. On the Amtrak Empire Builder, I got like the vegan tomatoey based pasta. It was a long night. It was not that good. I want y'all to kind of bring any of your travel diarrhea medicine with you. I use Gas X. Imodium is also really good as well, but take this stuff, okay? Take it with you. You never know how your body's going to react to train food, and you are just kind of stuck there. If something were to happen, unless it is an emergency, then they have a protocol for that as well on the train, but you want to be prepared for anything that may happen when you eat on the train. I also recommend, if you get nauseous, getting some Dramamine. I don't normally get nauseous on the train. It's very rare. It's never actually happened. It's more happened on boats, but Dramamine is really good for any of that motion sickness. I, again, don't generally get motion sick, but I still carry some Dramamine because you never know what could happen when you're on the train. And the last thing I have are sea nausea relief bands. Again, I've only worn these once, and that was going through the Moffat Tunnel on the California Zephyr, because I did feel a little wonky on the second day when I woke up on the train. But these are great for folks who get nauseous, and so they have instructions in here where you can kind of learn how to apply it, but you have to wear them at the same time. So you can look in the instructions when you get them if you are somebody who does get nauseous. Again, this doesn't happen to me often, but I do still carry it because you never know when something is going to happen, especially when it relates to being motion sickness on the train. And that is all that I have for y'all today. I'm sure I probably forgot something.
And I did, and that were the bags that I packed. So for my rolly bag, I normally have this one by Eagle Creek that I store on the second level when it's not in my room on the roomette. But in the roomette or when I'm in coach, I have this eBags Mother Loader Junior backpack that I carry with me. And over time, I learned how to pack for my frame as someone who is 5'1". So I opt for these 2 bags instead of carrying one big check one, but it's really up to you.
So if you have any questions or any recommendations for other train travelers who find this video, leave them in the comments below so we can help each other out. I hope it was helpful. It was a lot of different things, but I feel like you never know what can happen on a train, so I would rather be safe than sorry. Thank y'all again so much for watching. As always, stay curious, and I will see y'all in my next video. Bye.